College Classic. It did just say College Classic campuses was treated. Lord God Almighty, we ask you to cleanse us in the name of Jesus Christ, Father. Cleanse us from head to toe, inside and out, spirit and soul, Father, heart and mind, and tomorrow, and right now. Amen. And it came to pass in the commencement of the 5th year of their reign, there began to be a contention among the people for a certain man being called Alamasi, he being a very cunning man, yea, a wise man, as to excuse me, very cunning man, yea, a wise man as to the wisdom of the world. He being after the order of the man that slew Gideon by the sword, who was executed according to the law. Now the Alamaki or Alamasai had by his cunning drawn away much people after him, even so much that they began to be very powerful. And they began to endeavor to establish Alamases to be king over the people. Now, this was alarming to the people of the church and also to all those who had not been drawn away after the persuasions of Alamasai. For they knew that according to their law, that such things must be established by the voice of the people. And therefore, if it were possible that Alamasai should gain the voice of the people, he being a wicked man would deprive them of their rights and privileges of the church. For it was his intent to destroy the church of God. And it came to pass that the people assembled themselves together throughout all the land, every man according to his mind, whether it were for or against Alamasai, in separate bodies, having much dispute and wonderful contentions one with another. And thus they did assemble themselves together to cast in their voices concerning the matter, and they were laid before the judges. And it came to pass that the voice of the people came against Alamasi, that he was not made king over the people. Now this did cause much joy in the hearts of those who were against him. But Alamasi did stir up those who were in his favor to anger against those who were not in his favor. And it came to pass that they did gather themselves together and did consecrate Alamasi to be their king. Now, when Alamasi was made king over them, he commanded them that they should take up arms against their brethren. And this he did that he might subject to them to him. Now, the people of Alamasi were distinguished by the name of Alamasi, being called Alamasites. And the remainder were called Nephites, or the people of God. And therefore, the people of the Nephites were aware of the intent of the Alamasites. And therefore, they did prepare to meet them. Yea, they did arm themselves. Excuse me. With swords and with cimeters and with bows and with arrows and with stones and with slings and with all manner of weapons of war of every kind. And thus they were prepared to meet the Amalekites at the time of their coming. And they were appointed captains and higher captains and chief captains according to their numbers. And it came to pass that Alamasi did arm his men with all manner of weapons of war of every kind, and he also appointed rulers and leaders over his people to lead them to war against their brethren. And it came to pass that the Elamites, which was east of the river Sidon, which ran by the land of Zarahemla, and there they began to make war with the Nephites. Now Alma, being the chief judge and the governor of the people of Nephi, therefore he went up with his people, yea, with his captains and chief captains, yea, at the head of his armies against the Elamites to battle. And they began to slay the Elamites upon the hill east of Sidon. And the Elamites did contend with the Nephites and with great strength, and so much that many of the Nephites did fall before the Elamites. Nevertheless, the Lord did strengthen the land of the Nephites, that they slew the Elamites with great slaughter, that they began to flee before them. And it came to pass that the Nephites did pursue the Elamites all that day, and they did, and all that day, and did slay them with the much slaughter, and so much that there were slain of the Elamites 12,532 souls, and there were slain of the Nephites 6,562 souls. And it came to pass that when Alma could pursue the Elamites no longer, he caused that his people should pitch their tents in the valley of Gideon, the valley being called after that Gideon was slain by the hand of Nahor with the sword. And in the valley the Nephites did pitch their tents for the night. And Alma sent spies to follow the remnant of the Amalekites, that he might know of their plans and their plots, whereby he might guard himself against them, that he might preserve his people from being destroyed. Now, these whom he had sent out to watch the camp of the Lamanites were called Zaram, and Amnor, and Manti, and Limher. These were they who went out with their men to watch the camp of the Lamanites. And it came to pass that on the morrow they returned into the camp of the Nephites in great haste, being greatly astonished and struck with much fear, saying, Behold, we followed the camp of the Lamanites, and to our great astonishment in the land of Minon, above the land of Zarahemla, in the course of our land of Nephi, we saw a numerous host of the Lamanites. Behold, the Lamanites have joined them, and they are upon our brethren in that land, and they are fleeing before them with their flocks and their wives and their children towards our city. And except we make haste, they obtain possession of our city, and our fathers and our wives and our children be slain. And it came to pass that the people of Nephi took their tents and departed out of the valley of Gideon towards their city, which was the city of Zarahemla. And behold, as they were crossing the river of Sidon, the Lamanites and the Elamites, being the numerous almost, as it were, as the sands of the sea, came upon them to destroy them. And nevertheless, the Nephites, being strengthened by the hand of the Lord, having prayed mightily to him that he would just deliver them out of the hands of their enemies. And therefore the Lord did hear their cries and did strengthen them, and the Lamanites and the Elamites did fall before them. Whee! Pow! And it came to pass that after Alma fought with Elamite with the sword face to face, and they did contend mightily one with another. Oh, can you imagine the battle? We're in the Book of Mormon College Classic Campus Hits. Okay. Let's see here. Well, this is a long one. We're gonna make this a two-parter. No, I'm gonna knock it out. I just because I know some of these get really long, and I don't want to kill you, but we want to finish this whole chapter. And it came to pass that after Alma, being a man of God, being exercised with much faith, cried, saying, "O Lord, have mercy and spare my life, that I may be an instrument in thy hands to save and preserve this people." Save me, Lord. Is this the end? Can you not use me? Now, when Alma had said these words, he contended again with Alemosite, and he was strengthened inasmuch that he slew Alemosite with the sword. And he also contended with the king of the Lamanites, but the king of the Lamanites fled back from before Alma and sent his guards to contend with Alma. And thus he cleared the ground, or rather the bank, which was on the west of the river Sidon, throwing the bodies of the Lamanites who had been slain into the waters of Sidon, that thereby this people might have room to cross and contend with the Lamanites and the Alemosites on the west side of the river Sidon. And it came to pass that when they had all crossed the river Sidon, that the Lamanites and the Alemosites began to flee before them, notwithstanding they were so numerous that they could not be numbered. And they fled before the Nephites towards the wilderness, which was west and north, away beyond the borders of the land. Now the Nephites did pursue them with their might, and did slay them. Nay, they were met on the every hand, and slain and driven until they were scattered on the west and on the north, until they had reached the wilderness, which was called Hermons. And it was that part of the wilderness which was infested by wild and ravenous beasts. And it came to pass that many died in the wilderness of their wounds, and were devoured by those beasts, and also the vultures of the air. And their bones have been found and have been heaped up on the earth. It's College Classic Campus from TcYbarra. I enjoy reading the Book of Mormon, and I hope you're enjoying reading it with me. I really get a kick out of the Book of Mormon because I really, really like it. If you haven't read the Book of Mormon, I would suggest that you read it for knowledge and wisdom's sake, because it's really interesting. I'm TcYbarra. This is College Classic Campuses. Have a beautiful night. God bless you. God bless.